the brilliant and eloquent Michael Knowles gave a lecture mostly to college students 2 years ago about the 7 deadly sins and how progressives, modern progressives, kind of embody, or at least progressivism does, all 7 of them. I want to echo that, but I do want to expand further, and from his Christian perspective to this Jewish one. I am Mark Stewart Greenstein, fan of Knowles, fan of studying Western theology, and even Eastern theology to some extent. So the 7 deadly sins have, to this Jew, far less importance than actions. Greed, gluttony, sloth, wrath, envy, lust. These are emotions that don't directly have actions. Actions, one human upon another, to me are far more sinful. There are 2 types of sins in Judaism, sins against man and sins against God. And I'm not sure where sins against animals goes. I believe animals being God's creations, so the murder of animals might be, if not done correctly, a sin against God. Sins against man are clearly of the highest problem because there is a death penalty for at least 2 of the sins against man. There is, however, a death penalty for 1 sin even against God, not upholding the Sabbath the correct way. So in our modernity, I think sinning against man is far more grievous. And thus, compared to all of those 7 Catholic, quote, deadly sins, I think it is far worse for the sin of stealing. Christianity, the thinkers ever since Jesus have expounded on these 7 daily sins, and they become a very wide web, far-reaching. Just one, gluttony. According to Aquinas, there are 5 forms of gluttony: eating too expensively, eating too daintily, eating too much, eating too soon, eating too eagerly, to which the Jew says, what's wrong with that? God gave us food. We are eager to partake of it. We bless God before partaking of that food. There's even, now this could be sinful in my mind, the medieval church leaders saying, well, gluttony is problematic if the process of your taking too much food leaves too little food for others. There's the other people once in action. Let me tie this into progressivism. Modern progressives have sinned against people that they ostensibly want to help every single week. Okay? Progressives, I bet, lost hope. That to me is grievous. Inculcating students who, often minority, with the thought that America is repressive. It has a history that way. It is currently still evil, and you have very little chance of succeeding. That is evil teaching, but it's done in schools and with the aid, the encouragement of leftists. Progressives encourage engendering inferiority, okay? They know that students in urban districts are in generally crappy schools. They know how to improve them. It includes values and more standards. They choose not to because, look, being a lifetime ward of the school system and big administration helps those in that administration, and that's almost exclusively Democrats. Finally, progressives make infantiles out of good Americans. Infantilization may be the worst crime on somebody else. They make people into wards of government. They also make people into so sheltered, the snowflake mentality of, I can't hear anything negative, and thus you shouldn't speak anything negative, even if it might in the long run be very helpful to the people who would hear a tough love message, for example. No, you're violating somebody's safe space, and you are creating an aggressive environment, they actually want to legislate against words. These sins are so much worse in this Jew's mind than the 7, quote, deadly sins that we hear, and I thank Michael Knowles for bringing it more to my attention. Thank you for your attention. I'll have more.